Hello. Another week, another talking craps, and another day trip. So, recording this on April 11th, Friday, and hopefully I'll get it all ready and published by Sunday as usual. Just wanted to recap the week. So this past week, I did go to Vegas, and I ended up going to the Rio. The video will be up soon, and before that I finally got my Aliante session all edited and published, so that will release tonight, which is Friday. So by the time you're listening to this, the video will already be out. And looking over, so since my Aliante visit and my Rio visit happened, pretty close in time, I'm gonna compare the two places. So Aliante, I already mentioned that I really like their table. Very, solid neutral bounce, and it's 12 foot, or some say it's actually not even full 12 feet long. So yeah, I definitely like the table and the table conditions. The only thing that kind of mess with me is the lower limit on the ATS bonus. But again, I'm sort of going through a ATS bonus drought right now, so it's probably gonna save me money to play with the lower limits. But yeah, and then that brings me to the Rio. So the Rio, first of all, I haven't been to the Rio since about 2012 or 2013, so a long time ago. Back then it was still part of Caesars, and it was still a pretty happening place. I remember the seafood buffet being very popular there, and they had huge rooms. Do they call it all suites? Was Rio all suites hotel? I think so, because their rooms are huge. And now by the time I visited and I stayed in a regular room, but it wasn't super fancy, but yes, it was really big, very spacious compared to most of the hotels on the strip. So there was that. And I can't quite remember because I didn't play too much at the Rio, but the Rio still had a sizable casino floor in different sections. Now, Rio of today, it's very much scaled down. They only have one table gaming pit right in the center as you walk in, and it's tiny. So they have one regular craps table. They do have a roll to win stadium crab station. I didn't even take a look at it, so I don't know how much or what, but yeah, they do not have any crapless. And when I was playing and when I asked the dealer, hey, do you guys have a crapless table, the dealer said no, and these were his words: we're lucky to even have this, pointing to the regular craps table. So yeah, Rio is struggling a little bit, and I haven't been to the Rio in so long, so I don't really have much of an opinion. But seeing as how the Palms is doing pretty well, every time I'm in there, it's pretty happening, and their craps table is thriving, and always has a decent number of people playing on it. So yeah, it's not the location, because the Rio and the Palms are pretty much next to each other. That brings up another point. So on the map, it looked like they're directly across the street. So when I left the Rio and I wanted to stop by the Palms, I was gonna walk across, but everything looks closer than it is, right, in Vegas. I was reminded of that. So it was like, it looks a little farther than I thought. And then I just checked on Google Maps, okay, how long will it take for me to walk there, and it said 14 minutes. So I ended up just hopping in a cab, because time is a real commodity you know, I spent $11 to go from the Rio to the Palms, which is really across the street, but I didn't want to spend 14 minutes walking. So what, it took me like 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. So yeah, you know, I was on a tight schedule, and I wanted to meet up with somebody and try to get as much time on the table as possible. So yeah, I took a cab. Back to the Rio. The table. So it's been the table is clean. They, you know, refelted, you know, the layout. They've changed. They must have changed it within like the past year or so. But I don't like it. It's got a I don't know what kind of material it is. It's not felt. It's not, you know, it's not woolly. It's something very synthetic, and I don't know. I don't know much about like you know, fabrics, so I wouldn't even be, you know, I wouldn't be able to name it or even properly describe it. And I've heard people talk about like how some craps tables have speed cloth and things like that. I think I know what speed cloth is, so I don't think this was that. But yeah, it's some sort of synthetic material that I'm not familiar with, and it gave the table a very weird bounce. So in my video, the first thing I said was, like the dice seem to, you know, bounce weird. The table seems a little mushy. That was my after my first couple throws, that was my comment on video. It seems mushy. But then when I touched the material, it's not exactly mushy, because I'm sure you've been on some tables where the material is very soft and, you know, squishy. So it wasn't exactly squishy, but you know, whatever is on it, it dampens the bounce, but in a very unpredictable way. So yeah, I mean, that's enough of that. But bottom line is the dice bounce very erratically. Sometimes they just kind of sit. Sometimes they bounce really, you know, high. So yeah, I had a hard time really dialing in my throws. How long have I played on that table? Maybe about 2.5, close to 3 hours now. And you know, towards the end, yeah, I did get a little bit more consistent throw and bounce, but it was, yeah, I had a real hard time with that table. So I'm picking up the recording. I forget what happened, but I had to stop. I believe I was talking about, yeah, I was talking about the difference that I experienced between Rio and Aliante. And yeah, because I played those two places close in time, plus I had permission to record at both, so I'm making a direct comparison between the two. And other than the physical, you know, table itself, right? I discussed how the Rio, the layout material, you know, right, and the bounce was very unpredictable, whereas Aliante, it was a lot more solid, it was a lot more predictable, and I think, again, people are saying it's like 11.5 feet long. You know, whatever it is, I liked it. You know, it was a solid table. And then after that, after the physical table itself, the dealers. So one thing about Rio, I quickly realized, the dealers on the craps table, at most properties, they're dedicated to craps. At the Rio, I saw that every dealer was rotating through every game. So once they get off the craps table, they might go to 000 roulette, the blackjack, baccarat, and whatever carny game they have, right? So they're rotating through the entire pit. Whereas most other properties, craps dealers are dedicated just to one game. Now that makes a difference, because craps, I really think that craps is, you know, perhaps the most complicated game to deal, right? Because there's so many different bets to keep track of. I mean, blackjack, you're either going to pay 1-to-1 or 3-to-2 on a good blackjack table, or 65 if you're on a bad blackjack table, right? And then if you have some side bets, fine, whatever. Baccarat, 1-to-1. you're paying 1-to-1. If you're on a commission table, yeah, you gotta, collect the vig. But again, you're not. Now roulette, okay, it's a little more involved, but they're not doing math in their head. They just automatically know, hey, if you're a split, that's 17 times, and then right, the corners and streets and whatever. But again, nothing is like craps in terms of the bets and the payouts and how many different bets and payouts there are. And of course, also, they're not doing math in their head. They have keys where they're quickly able to, right? Because every green chip gets a red for, like, say you're betting the 6 and 8, right? Odds. So there's keys that help you figure out the bets much faster and the payouts. But again, craps is the most complicated. So if you're not constantly dealing craps and you're switching back and forth between these games that pay 1-to-1, whatever, and then you're coming back to craps, yeah. And it was evident. There was a dealer who was, seemed a lot more seasoned and experienced. But some of the other dealers, I had to constantly tell them, oh, wait, no, that's not the right payout, or I had this amount, and right? So it gets frustrating. The dealers at Aliante, I didn't have any issues with them overall. So when it comes to dealers, I give the advantage to Aliante. For the physical table, I give the advantage to Aliante. The only thing that I do prefer with the Rio is that they have higher table max and they take more on the bonus. They take up to 100, 100, 100 on each spot for the all, tall, and small. Whereas Aliante takes quarters on the sides and 10 max on the all. So if you're gonna hit it, right, like, yeah, you're not gonna make the big bucks from the bonus at Aliante, but overall game, I mean, you don't hit the bonus all the time, so you can't rely on that. So if you're gonna hit numbers, you want to make sure you have a good table and good crew that's gonna take care of the game and keep it moving. Aliante is busier, and because of the low limits, there were a lot of hot bets on my video just published a couple days ago. So you're gonna see it. Most of the rows, there were a lot of hot bets, and it's really slowed down the game. The Rio, because that place is so empty, I didn't have to deal with that. Most of the time I was playing alone. The most we had on the table was 3 total people. So I don't know how it is in the evenings or on the weekends, but from what I can see, Rio is, not gonna be busy, packed most of the time. So conclusion, Aliante is far, but it's a much better game and experience. The Rio, I do like that I can basically just show up and record anytime. So what I'm probably gonna do is anytime I want to stop by the Palms and use up my free play, and I believe the Rio will also give free play as well. So then I would make it a like a circuit, right? I would go collect, play a little bit at both of those places because they're next to each other, and then yeah, so they'll go into my rotation, but they're not gonna be high up. Palms, the table is much better. I played that a few times now, so but this isn't about the Palms. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in my rotation, but definitely gonna go back to Aliante. The manager, I still need to give him advance notice, but he did open up the calendar for me so that I can record on some day shift days as long as they have the staffing and the table ready. So that's gonna happen in the future. So Aliante, the manager, has opened up the calendar. I don't have free reign, but I'm not going to be limited to just doing evening scheduling. So I just need to give advance notice, and as long as they can accommodate, because of staffing issues or table availability. So yeah, but hey, that's a huge forward step. So definitely gonna have more Aliante content coming. Other than that, unfortunately, station casinos, my status with them is still on hold. I don't know what's gonna happen. I did ask a host to check on that for me to get a little more information, so maybe I'll have some information by next week or not. And then the next after that is Plaza. I do plan on swinging by soon to check out their table gaming pit, check out the table, the condition. You know, I'm not going to be recording, but I'm going to play just to get a feel for it, right? If it turns out to be like the Rio table, you know, I probably will scrap it and not even, you know, try. But if it's a solid table, more in line with, you know, like how Aliante, Durango Palms, those tables are, then yeah, I can put it into my rotation as well if I ever, you know, hit up more downtown properties. So yeah, there's a lot in the works. But again, I did want to go and check it out and play and, you know, record and do all of that. But I also found myself, you know, trying to do a little too much, right? I'm recording, narrating, playing, and, you know, what I really want to do is, you know, show the dice and show the throw and the landing. Because most of that takes a lot more camera work, and that was really throwing me off. So that's something that I'm going to try to work on. But if it prevents me from, you know, playing more effectively and it's distracting me too much, then I'm not going to do it. But the ultimate goal is show the setup, position the camera in such a way that you can see the release, the trajectory, and the landing, right? Are the dice just chaotically bouncing all over the place, or are they, you know, taking one bounce, hitting the wall, and bouncing right back? Are they landing at the foot of the wall and just, you know, basically just tapping the wall, right? Am I getting consistent throws? Are these numbers, I keep talking about dominant numbers, are the dominant numbers showing because of how I throw the dice and how they're responding, or is it just completely random, right? I'm curious too, because I can't always, I'm throwing the dice hundreds of times, maybe even thousands of times every month. I cannot keep track of them. So me having my own footage will help me to figure these things out, you know, right? Because I know based on, you know, my roll tracking in terms of my bets, what rolled, what paid, I know I've had, you know, hitting numbers back to back to back, you know, up to like 5 times. But if every roll was completely all over the map, then where's the consistency? It's complete luck, right? Okay, now I'm getting way too off track. So yeah, those are the plans. I do want to keep working on how I want to, you know, try to show the dice setup, the release, the bounce, right, and the landing. But it's not easy. So if it gets too distracting, then, you know, I'm gonna scrap it and just focus on just playing first, right? So, all right. So that's that for now. I might have mentioned I'm going back tomorrow to Vegas. I have some plans. I will be playing on the strip during the day, and then in the evening plan on swinging by to make a little cameo on Bluff's live stream and play some games, not just craps. I'm planning on playing some Bach, roulette, and whatever else. I'm not gonna play every game because there are certain games that like I have no interest in playing, but definitely roulette, perhaps blackjack, perhaps baccarat, and yeah, and definitely get it in a little crap session with them, and then depending on how things go, you know, I'll stick around or take off early. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a good one, and I'll have stuff to report back next week. All right, thank you, take care, may the dice ever roll in your favor, and good luck to all.
Yeah. Woke up, lights flash, dice roll, neon glow, heart cold, bang roll. Hit the strip, I ain't playing slow. Stack 'em up, let 'em fall, let's go. Tables high, yeah, the stakes run deep. High risk, high reward, time to sleep now. Pit boss watching, I don't give a damn. This my city, bet it all, man. Yeah, I'm a Vegas day tripper. High stakes, I ain't no quitter. Throwing bones, let 'em fly. One more roll, one more try. Oh, Vegas, you don't know me. Just passing through, you can't hold me. Living fast, no regrets, no debt. I'm a dead tripper. Cut the check. Hard ways hit, let it ride. Feel alive in your lights, but when the sun starts creeping high, I'm gone. Don't ask why. Bellagio bright, big bets, big life, keep it tight. One roll, one night. Aces hit again, yeah, run that back. In the city, who counting stacks? Pit boss stressing, watch my hands. Too much heat, change the plans. Wind calling, golden shine. But luck in Vegas don't last no time. Yeah, I'm a Vegas day tripper. High stakes, I ain't no quitter. Throwing bones, let 'em fly. One more roll, one more try. Oh, Vegas, you don't know me. Just passing through, you can't hold me. Living fast, no regrets, no debt. I'm a dead tripper. Cut the check. Hard ways hit, let it ride. Feel alive in your lights, but when the sun starts creeping high, I'm gone. Don't ask why. Seen when it's turned to ghosts, lost in the night. Stacked too high, thought they'd never lose sight. But Vegas don't love you, just loans you a dream. Take too much, it'll snatch back everything. Watch the old timers still chasing the high. Empty hands, but that hope won't die. Told myself, nah, that won't be me. But damn, that gambler's life still calling me. Oh, just passing through, you can't hold me. Living fast, no regrets, no debt. I'm a dead predator. Cut the check. Hard ways hit, let it ride. Feel alive in your lights, but when the sun starts creeping high, I'm gone. Don't ask why. Vegas don't change, man. Only the players do. Some walk away, some fade away, and some they stay till they got nothing left. Not me though, I know the game, I take mine. And I leave till next time.